Daniel Van Heel. Welcome to Round the Fire with Momo.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
I want to know about your background. What did you do professionally, and how and when you got into Bitcoin?
Yeah, it took quite a while for me. So I have no background at all with finance or technical, well, slightly technical background, but uh, I used to like making music and I also studied like music production composition some time ago. Um, and I remember my stepfather always telling me to just spend your money, just spend it and trust on the money coming back to you. So it's like a trust thing, and that's kind of how I lived for a long time. And I never had money to save, basically, and it didn't come back in the amounts I would have liked to. But yeah, that's how I lived for quite a while. In my mid 30s, then I got some money where I thought, okay, maybe I would like to save that money. And then I was looking into precious metals, crypto at that time. For some reason, I was never interested in shares. I was kind of already had the urge to like keep it in my hand to control it, and all these shares. There was kind of some commitment on paper, but it didn't feel like I could really own that. So yeah, I first got into precious metals, and from there I got into crypto. And there was this one year where, yeah, I thought, yeah, everything went well, and I wasn't trading, but I was kind of putting a little bit of money here and there into crypto, and then it all came crashing down at some point, and then yeah, then I had to look into it a bit deeper. Before it was like, I don't know, if you remember 2020, you were like investigating a token for 5 minutes, and it sounded great, and you invest in it, and it basically all went well until it didn't. And so once it all came down, once it all came crashing down, then I had to look into it more deeply, and then I understood that the decentralization part is basically only really existent with Bitcoin. And then yeah, from crypto I got into Bitcoin, and then yeah, then I at some point I thought, yeah, I would also love to work in that area. um well, after studying music and working at MTV for a little bit, I was working in marketing for quite a while, and I went from marketing into, yeah, working for Bitvala. I don't know if you remember Bitvala, but Bitvala was a relatively big exchange in Germany, where I first started working in customer service, and from there I worked in the compliance fraud squad, and then business development, and then back to also marketing. So I went through all kinds of uh, fields there. So yeah, that's basically how I got into Bitcoin. So as a start.
Okay, there's a fascinating part, and at the risk of digression, I would like to get into it. Um, what was your role in music production? Um, were you interested in playing a musical instrument, and then you got interested in music production? Was it having a good voice, or was it being a good mixer and using the digital tools to make music, or was it the creation of and directing cinematography or organizing things? So what role was it, and what got you into music?
Well, it started with instruments. So I had all kinds of instruments, guitar, keyboard. My first salaries went to a big keyboard that I still have, guitar and percussion. And from there, I realized, okay, I need to get more know-how about the technology. And from there, I went to production more and more, and started producing more and more, and got pretty much hooked on actually producing. And I produce my own tracks, and I also produce yeah, a lot for video, for visuals, for advertisements, also interstitial stuff like that. Yeah, but that's basically yeah, almost 20 years ago.
What was the time? What was the year that you became a Bitcoiner, and what were the some of the factors that made it really click in that yeah, this is the thing I want to. I don't want to buy different crypto. Maybe one of the reasons was that most of them just crashed, but and Bitcoin remained. What was it? And were there any influential people?
Yeah, well, I also do a bit of jujitsu, and in jujitsu, you often say you either win or you learn. So the crashing, the losing was a big part of the learning process because I realized I had to dig into it more deeply. And um, actually, my brother, who wasn't that much into crypto, told me that he thinks Bitcoin is probably the best, and he um, doesn't believe in all the other cryptos anymore. And I thought, okay, how did that happen? And also, a big role did the block trainer play, which is like a relatively known YouTuber in Germany who explained the main differences. And yeah, the main difference is the decentralization, and the decentralization and the network effect. It's the strongest computer network by now, the strongest decentralized computer network by now, uh, is the foundation to ensure that the rules are not fucked around with, in comparison to other cryptos where you don't know what's happening tomorrow and how the conditions will change. And once I realized that, which happened after the crash, and once I looked into it more deeply, yeah, it was gradual. Um, I knew before, also heard it here and there. Bitcoin is probably the only thing. I didn't fully believe it because, of course, people things develop, things advance. So why Bitcoin? But yeah, at some point I understood there needs to be a solid foundation, which is Bitcoin, and you can build on top of it on layers, and not have all the other side projects.
Bitcoin is not like Yahoo search engine or Ask Jeeves or not Bing, but MSN search in that time that is going to be replaced by Google or something better. It is not a better messaging app. It's a protocol and it's a foundation that we build things on. And there is another bomb that you dropped there and some topic that we need to get into. It's funny. Um, I had Fernando from Cracks Road News and the Bitcoin Libertarian on, and then he had seen my Instagram page and he was like, "Oh, you're also. I noticed that you also do jiu-jitsu like many Bitcoiners." And so that's something
Do they? Yeah,
interesting.
really?
How long have you been? Yeah. We converge on so many things. For example, the crazy diets. My apologies for my dog barks. Yeah, there are some, lifestyles that we converge on.
Because yeah, I didn't know that, but I would be happy to find that crowd, because yeah, I know one guy on Twitter. He's a total Bitcoiner and jiu-jitsu guy, but I think it's only one guy I know. So there's a whole network of those guys. I would like to get to know them, actually.
Uh, it is not as big as I would say. It's my assumption. It is not as big as carnivore Bitcoiners. I think that's more. And how long have you been doing jujitsu and what got you in it?
I only do no-gi, and I do basically MMA. And I love the jiu-jitsu part the most, but I'm not the youngest anymore, and I get some neck problems after a while. So when I roll too much, I have to do something else, and then I do stand up, which I actually also like. But yeah, I have a gi, and I tried it once, but it's again a whole new a whole new world with so many more techniques and things. And if you do MMA and
True.
then you do no gi, I mean, yeah, if you have all the time in the world, if you don't have anything else to do, you can start doing that too. But I decided, okay, let's stick with no gi. So yeah, no gi. And I also thought, I mean, like you said, there should be a lot of Bitcoiners doing Jiu-Jitsu because these are two big rabbit holes to go down. Um, so yeah, would be interested to find out if there are more guys doing both.
Yeah, and it is also, I understand the kind of choice that you were talking about. I was doing Muay Thai on some days, I was doing MMA, I was doing boxing even. Then it just went to concentrated on Muay Thai, and then I kind of found my jiu-jitsu, and had my first jiu-jitsu session because it was a further club. I was interested in it mainly, but I started it later. um, when I started jiu-jitsu, I was doing both of them, no gi and gi. Then I realized that it is really necessary to focus, and I had this goal that I kind of sometimes jokingly think about, and that is um, stepping into the ring at the age of 40. And for that, as you also mentioned with MMA, it is um, no gi is more compatible because it's a whole different world gi. When you are doing gi and suddenly go no gi, you are disarmed. You cannot do anything, and it is really necessary to know how to do no gi um, to to be good at something like
I
MMA.
agree for the most part, but it's also, I mean, if it would happen in a street fight, then most people have wear something, and then there's
Yeah, that is
again a
true.
big difference if you have like a how do you call these forgot the name. Yeah, like a shirt on
Jacket,
or not. If you don't and you're sweaty, I mean that's such a whole new ball game again because you cannot get any grip.
true.
So yeah, but true. Yeah. So you did competitions when you were 14.
I want to do
Ah,
competitions
when
when
you're
I am
40.
40.
Okay, great.
That's my dream. Yeah.
Yeah, you know Max DeMarco, who does Bitcoin content and videos and films. Yeah, so
No.
he never fought, and he just for the challenge he just got into kickboxing and also did a fight. And I also did want to do a fight. So you said you want to fight when you're 40, and I also thought, yeah, let's uh, do it at least once. I tried to get a fight in the past, and it didn't work out for like 3 times. Once I quit smoking and got too heavy, I couldn't lose weight. Then I broke my finger, and a third time the other guy just canceled. So yeah, maybe I also do one more fight, but I'm not sure yet because I'm 44, so I'm not so young anymore.
What inspired you to do Bitcoin content?
Uh, during COVID, during the COVID crisis, a lot of things changed, and I was pretty critical about how things went. And yeah, so I was a bit disappointed in how people just followed all the rules that didn't always make sense to me. And it was very refreshing to get into the Bitcoin community and find all these people that are basically all mainstream critical. They come from all kinds of directions, left, right, carnivore, vegan, maybe more carnivore, I don't know. But basically, they're all mainstream critical. They all understood there's a fundamental issue with our monetary system. And it was so refreshing to be in that community and talk with all these people that are don't believe all the mainstream bullshit. And from there, I thought it would be interesting to to do surveys, to do interviews, talk with those people, and also make content. So I started going to conferences and meetups and did surveys and podcasts, and just came back from the Swiss Bitcoin conference, where I had did a couple of interviews and surveys. So yeah, that's how I got into it, because yeah, it's interesting to talk with those people, with this crowd. Yeah, and so that's how it started basically.
Something that got my attention was your Nostr, your X bio. Ultimately, I look forward to us all connecting on Nostr, and you have shared your pub key on or npub on an X. What gravitated you towards Nostr, and what do you see in it?
Yeah, censorship resistant for sure. I mean, that also became even clearer during COVID as well, because I saw mainstream critical experts in Germany being canceled on YouTube, on X
True.
back then as well. I mean, it has changed a little bit with Elon Musk, but probably not 100%. You can still get problems. Um, yeah, I saw that, and I saw like guys that were experts 10 years before in the government even, and then they said the wrong thing, being canceled. And so I just find it a bit weird in general that the more our public or our exchange of ideas and communication happens on platform, on centralized online platforms controlled by like a company, I think it would be basically better to, yeah, to have that on a protocol that is not owned by anyone, like similar to Bitcoin. So that's why I would like that. And but yeah, I guess a lot more uh, censorship would need to happen to get all the masses to Nostr, because the mainstream adoption is
Yeah, true.
definitely
And
not there yet.
especially in Germany, things were really bad during COVID. I was here in Poland in those years. Um, I actually learned the language, the German language, and I wanted to live in Germany. But when I saw those events,
Hmm.
I was really discouraged about taking any action to go to Germany. I was doing some translations about the regulations in Germany. There were translations that were assigned to me. That was my main source of income then. And I was like, wow, they have rules for everything. The number of people, the number of days of tests, and it would update every week, and it was just crazy. And I couldn't imagine living there. Here, you could away without with walking without masks in many situations. It was much more comfortable here. It wasn't ideal, but much better. Um, the direction that Germany is taking is really scary, and Europe in general. So I want to know, with all this introduction, know your view about CBDCs. Do you think they are going to become possible? And w- what would you do, or do you think it is not possible? And do you think Bitcoin is going to kind of stop that or discourage that?
Yeah, it is a very interesting and important question. And yeah, CBDCs are definitely scary, and they're going to be introduced this year. I mean, it's not for retail yet, as far as I understood, but still, it's happening. And yeah, the central banks are pushing for it, and there's a worldwide, yeah, they're trying it worldwide, like not simultaneously, but yeah, it's happening. And I also talked to a number of experts, you can say, about this topic, and they are not that worried, because they believe it will just fail, because it doesn't have the characteristics of sound money. And at some point, people will switch to other forms of trade, but it can still make things a lot worse before they get better, I think. And yeah, CBDCs are basically a way to control us, a way to yeah, change our behavior, to limit or what we can buy, where we can buy it, for how long we can buy it, and if we're critical, you can just yeah, disconnect us from our access to our money. And it would have been perfect during COVID, because you could just, with the click of a mouse, determine where people can go and where they can buy. And yeah, I think there's a big chance that these possibilities will be used again. So that's a horrible outlook. We already have a very bad monetary system, which is a fiat system, where you can print money out of thin air, and then going to that. Well, I hope not. And yeah, Bitcoin happened right in time. So let's see. But yeah, I guess there will be stuff going in a parallel next to each other for a certain time. And then at some point, I guess Bitcoin wins because it's just better and you see the adoption worldwide. Um, but how long that will take and how it exactly will turn out, I don't know.
Even when companies, corporations are not in a rush, they do not make the most optimal product, and they fail, it's going to look so bad, and it's going to be really their death sentence. Maybe it really kills them. One mistake. Uh, I think it, it is only a fraction of the people that know Bitcoin. It's only a small percentage of the people that know and use Bitcoin. There's a difference between knowing about it and actually using it. But when CBDCs come, of course, we do not need their CBDCs. And people who use it, unfortunately, they will be get bitten, and there is going to be some mistakes. There is this programmer who hasn't done a good documentation. He leaves the company, and then the next person takes it from there and tries to figure out why this code is here, why this line is here, delete something that they shouldn't have, or add something that they shouldn't have, and it's going to fail for everyone, and you are enforcing everyone to use it. Bitcoin in the beginning was very, very buggy. There are bugs, there are bug fixes every time, even now, but it still lives. So imagine you forced all the population to use that. Well, or as a huge percentage of the population to use that, things are going to go wrong, and more people are going to learn about Bitcoin then, I would say. They would become a good PR for us.
Yeah, I think so too. But probably that it still has to go along with a little bit more pain, more inflation.
True.
Um,
And the people who get hurt by it, people will lose their money because of it, and that's going to people are going to get burned.
yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, it failed in Nigeria, right? But people there were already much more aware. The pain was higher, the stakes were higher, um, and they didn't accept it, and they realized that Bitcoin has very important traits very quickly. I'm not sure if we're going to be so fast here. Yeah, as I said, I think we need more pain, unfortunately, and there will be pain. I mean, I have to say, if I buy food now, it is really getting expensive, and it's Berlin used to be a very cheap city compared to the rest of Germany, and it certainly isn't anymore. I mean, if you want to go out for dinner, you will think twice because it's just getting much more expensive. And as we know, this cannot just be reversed. It can, in a fiat system, it can basically only get worse. And maybe you heard that our government wants to go another, in English it's, in German it's billion, in English it's trillion, into debt. So they had the highest tax, got the highest tax amount ever in history, I think last year, and that still wasn't enough. And it was even promised before the election by the party that won that they will not go into more debt. And then after the election, they were like, oh, well, actually, we do need to go into more debt, and we we're thinking about 1 trillion. So there's going to be more debasement, and the money's not going to be used for for good things for the most part, I think. So yeah, the direction is that it's going to get worse with the fiat system, and hopefully, yeah, we can ramp or get more people into Bitcoin.
You also mentioned that in one of your videos that you are getting interested in new diets. I am. That's one of the huge interests of mine. So I am curious to see what kind of diets and ways of eating you have become interested in. I'm hoping it is carnivore.
Um, yeah, I tried Carnivore actually. I wanted to make a film about it too. I have all the video footage, but I haven't cut it yet. But I tried Carnivore for 1 month. So basically, I never thought about diet at all. I I ate everything I wanted to, and I just didn't like people so much who were so complicated that asked, "Oh, what's in that, and what is in here, and what are the ingredients?" I was like, "Fuck it, come on, just have dinner." It's also a social event. But then, yeah, during the I tried carnivore for 35 days, and yeah, it went pretty well. I lost 9 kilograms. And what struck me is, well, I did a blood test before and after. I broke my toe right at the beginning. So before I started, I was training a lot. I did push ups and pull ups. And then I broke my toe, started a carnivore diet. And so I didn't train during the carnivore diet. And then at the end, my toe was okay again. And I thought, let's try push ups and pull ups. And without training, I did 10 more push ups than I usually could. Uh, that
Wow.
was weird. And maybe two, three pull ups more. But I was like, wow, okay, I lost weight also. Yeah. So I asked AI to calculate what is due to the weight loss, what is due, blah, blah, blah. But AI told me at least that I think like 70% was due to increase of power. So that was weird. And the blood test was fine in the beginning. And after my blood test, uh, my doctor called me and it was like, "Do you know what? I mean, you
Your
have to come.
cholesterol
I
is.
mean, this cannot even be true. We have to call it invalid. The second test, we have to do it again because the numbers are just insane." And she sounded really nervous. So I was like, "What's the problem?" It made me a little nervous as well. Um, and she said, "Yeah, your cholesterol is like through the roof. And if you would be like a fat, unhealthy guy, then I would have to say you're like in critical danger and it's life threatening. But you look healthy, so it doesn't fit together." Um, so yeah, that was that.
Do you remember the number? Because
um,
once I even posted mine, I
I
think
think
it was over 200.
300 something,
300
354.
something. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That raises some some alarms. Yeah, yeah. Mine had a star next to it, but it's still in the 200s from what I remember. I might be misremembering it. Yeah. Oh, something that I love, in carnivore, not just carnivore, but actually steak carnivore. There were days I was on budget, so I would do just bacon and eggs or um, burger patties, I mean. And I was eating the same kind of food. It was meat. There was no bread. In the afternoon, I had a headache. Once I had 2 days of headache in a row, and I was like, "This is really so abnormal. I never had this.
Hmm.
This comes every week. My diet is much better than before, and I haven't had these problems for so long. Why are they reappearing?" And even when I was kind of strict with my diet, it was still happening. And the second night that I had consecutive headaches, I was like, I really crave some steak. I got on my bike, I bought some steak, ate it, my head got better. I ate another steak the same day, it got better. And it used to happen to me that the days I worked from the office, some days I worked from the office, some days from home. I I accepted the fact that I would get a headache after the days that I am at the office, and it would make me more easygoing with the things I ate. I would just get something like a chocolate bar or a hot dog on my way back home to just get
Chocolate
something
bar.
in. Chocolate bar, yeah, yeah.
So you were not strict in that sense.
No, the days that I was at the office were the days that I was more fragile
Mm.
because I was very tired. I just wanted something to eat. Though I packed, lunch, but still it was not enough sometimes.
But I mean, a chocolate bar. I mean, I remember it was really like, uh, yeah, you're like a drug addict to sugar and carbs. So
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you eat meat and then a chocolate bar, it's like you get such a big kick, and then after it, probably you need another one. Um,
Yeah, it wouldn't happen like that exactly, but the days I was tired from work and all, I was more prone to doing it. And almost all the 5 days of the month that I had to work from the office, it happened that I just ate whatever.
yeah, yeah.
But I ate some steak the next day, and I was working from the office. The headache didn't come back, so my headache medication now, my pain relief is just eating more steak because I have a
Okay.
steak deficiency, and once I have it, my body is good to go.
Yeah,
So actually sticking better to it, sticking to more quality food, even if less, is going to be beneficial to me.
yeah. I mean, I'm by no means an expert, and I'm tend towards doing the non-mainstream stuff. And I never heard before that there's a carnivore diet until I heard about Jordan Peterson. Um, so yeah, I kind of was interested in that, but I'm not expert at all in nutrition. So, but I still find it interesting that some people seem to thrive also being vegan, even though I'm very much convinced that there's a lot of people who can heal autoimmune diseases with a carnivore diet, like skin diseases, autoimmune diseases. I mean, there's so many stories where people are fixing stuff they had that for their whole life, and on a carnivore diet, they're fixing it. But then you do have people like MMA fighters, Christian uh, Pütz in Germany, or other people who only eat vegan and they look good too. So I don't know what the secret is. Maybe we're just still very different. Maybe it is also has something to do with your belief system and what your convictions are. I don't know. It's a little bit of a mystery, but you have these nutrition experts that say vegan is good. You have those who say carnivore is good. You have those in the middle. Interesting topic for sure.
It was great chatting with you, and we covered several bases. And looking forward to talking to you again and hopefully seeing you soon. I heard just before we went on recording, I realized you're most probably not going to the Bitcoin Film Fest in Poland, but hopefully in some event we are going to see each other.
For sure. Are you going to BTC Prague?
Am undecided about that as
Okay.
of yet, and my schedule is not known yet for
Yeah.
that. I am thinking about doing it.
Yeah.
But you are
Great.
going, yeah?
I'm going. Yeah, exactly.
So, more chances I would go.
Great. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. It was a pleasure talking to you. All the best. And yeah, see you around.
See you.